Uh-oh, Ross Coulthart has a warning for us, guys. This isn't good. He's saying that the UFO story could completely go away, that Congress could take its foot off the gas, that they could be persuaded into silence. This is dire, this is grim, this is important. Get in here, this is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like. Please subscribe and smash the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Please join me on social media. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. I would love to connect with you guys there. And if you could share this video when it drops on social media, that would be super helpful. And of course, comment on the story as I'm going through it. Well, without any further ado, let's just listen to what Ross has to say, and we'll address his concerns.
The big question in my mind, though, is will it ever leak? Because a lot of people say everything leaks. But would something as momentous, for example, let's hypothetically assume that it is true, that witnesses are now coming forward giving evidence of legacy craft retrieval programs, where the programs are now attempting to back-engineer technology. I can understand that the members of congressional committees might be very susceptible to an argument being made by senior members of the military and the intelligence services, hypothetically, that, yeah, okay, we did keep this out of the purview of the oversight committees for many years, and that was wrong. Maybe it was authorized by a presidential order by some previous president. We just don't know. But maybe they thought they were doing the right thing, and just maybe there's a risk that the committees might buy into that and accept that that's a plausible argument. I mean, maybe for the US, the development of the technologies behind what we're talking about here, propulsion systems, energy systems, represents such a strategic advantage that the last thing they want to do is be forced, even by their Congress, into an admission that such a program exists. And so I'm just a little bit nervous that we might see a shutdown. And it's why it's so important for people to keep the pressure up. And it's why it's so important that the media keep the pressure up as well. And that's my worry, is that the lesson, if there was one lesson that came out of Balloongate, it was the supine acquiescence of the mainstream media that chased the issue for a while, but the moment they were told, oh, these might have been a hobby balloon, did you notice how that just so quickly killed the debate?
Oh, completely.
Don't you think if they did have vision of a hobby balloon, show it to us? This is the thing I don't understand.
Yeah, there's a lot of unanswered questions about Balloongate. Still today, we don't know what the hell those objects were. The first one was obviously a balloon, but the other three, we have no clue. And now there's other weird things. There was a UFO over Poland yesterday. There was a UFO over Russia, I think the day before. No, it was yesterday. I take that back. It was a Russian airport had to be shut down because of a UFO over it. There's all sorts of craziness going on. It seems like the phenomenon is getting more aggressive and more overt in some ways. I'm not saying those three objects that were shot down after the Chinese balloon were in fact anomalous. But if they were hobby balloons, as Ross says, why not release the footage? Why not give us some pictures? Why be afraid to produce the wreckage? It's very mysterious. It is. And he has a really good point that, the media completely abandoned the story when the government suggested they could be hobby balloons. After that, it was embarrassing to cover, and they stopped covering it. Or they, the momentum, the zeitgeist was off, the ratings were down on that story, so they stopped covering it. Either way, he has a great point, and he has his concern that Congress could be persuaded by the powers that be to take their foot off the gas in investigating UFOs. Well, it's a very valid concern and very alarming. And we have people like Representative Tim Burchett saying that other people, other Congress people, have been compromised. He even specifically named Marco Rubio. It's very interesting. It's concerning when a member of a party bashes a member of the same party, over something as fringy as UFOs. So I wonder what he meant by that. I think that he's suggesting that they are being coerced or pressured by, the control group or somebody, some of the powers that be, into, possibly not pursuing this as vigorously as they could, or at least not being as forthcoming as we would all like them to be. He also says that maybe the Congress could be persuaded that we need to keep this technology for ourselves and reverse engineer it for ourselves. Well, my counter argument would be we've had this technology for a long time. There's at least 2 crashes that we had in 1945, possibly more than that. We had the Mussolini crash. It crashed in 1933, and we acquired it in 45, along with the Trinity crash. And it's very possible that there were crashes before then, and I've talked a little bit about that on the channel. I think it goes back maybe much earlier than that, to the early 1900s at least. But at the very least, we had them by 1945, so we've had this technology for a long time. So I don't buy that. They're just now discovering this these craft and reverse engineering it, and now we have to keep it secret and silent. No, we've had this forever. So are we gonna keep it silent forever? Another concern is that they could be persuaded that it's in the public's best interest not to disclose this stuff. Even Bob Bigelow has said something like that. I forget who it was that he was having lunch with that reported this story. But Bob Bigelow said there had been studies done as to the public's reaction once the UFO news broke, once disclosure happened. And Bob Bigelow was saying that it didn't look good, that the prognosis was negative, that it looked like the public's reaction, according to the models that he had been shown, were kind of dire. So Bob Bigelow was worried about that, and he passed a little bit of that worry on to the individual he was meeting with. I wish I could remember his name. But Ross also has another very good point, and that is that the media needs to continue to pursue this story and to take, not to take its foot off the gas, that we very much need the media on our side. And to that point, there is a new CNN piece. And with Ryan Graves, a 6.5-minute segment, which is a very healthy segment on mainstream news channels. So let's just listen to part of that.
No, I took an auto track. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow, look at the fly.
Former Navy fighter pilot Ryan Graves has a new article in Politico titled, "We Have a Real UFO Problem, and It's Not Balloons." He joins me now. Ryan, I'm with you. I mean, you've seen weirder things than a Chinese balloon while you've been in the sky, yes?
Certainly. We've seen things that we haven't been able to explain as simply a balloon. And as we've been talking about the various objects that have been shot down over the U.S., there's been a pretty clear bifurcation between what we've been calling a Chinese balloon and what these other 3 objects are. And while we don't know what they are, the fact of the matter is we should know what's above our head at any given time, whether it's a national security issue or whether it's a scientific question. We need to figure out what's above our heads.
That video that we just showed, was that from your squad?
Yes, that was in 2015 while we were aboard the USS Theodore Roosevelt off the coast of Jacksonville, Florida. We were doing training missions, preparing for our combat deployment. We recorded that object as well as other objects that were operating in our vicinity on a regular basis. And we simply didn't know what they were.
Anyway, you don't need to watch the full piece, but I'll provide a link to the segment below. But yeah, so a 6.5-minute piece aired on CNN with Ryan Graves talking about his experiences and his squad's experiences. They were encountering these things almost daily, I think, during 2015 and 16. And of course, that's where the Go Fast video came from, and the gimbal footage. So there's a lot more footage. He even talks a little bit about that in this piece, that there are more videos. So where are those videos? Why have they not been released? That's my question. He doesn't really, get into that too much, but he does suggest there are more videos, and clearly there are. So, it's great that CNN is covering this. It's great that other news stations are still covering this news. So I hope that allays Ross Coulthart's fears a little bit. It looks like the media is still keeping up with the story, and as long as people are still talking about it, as long as this still generates ratings, I think that the mainstream news is going to cover this. So, we ufologists need to continue to pursue this and to talk about it, to make this as mainstream as possible, and, to really push this story and not let Congress take their foot off the gas, because they're historically they have not pursued this, and it only very recently where they have been taking this seriously publicly, and possibly for the first time. So that's great, but we need to keep going. Thanks for joining me. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. Please smash the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Please join me on social media. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. I would super appreciate that, and love to interact with you there. And until next time, this is Jack with Cosmic Road signing out.